Hello everyone, welcome to another Archipelago live stream. Absolutely, Chris, let's get this party started. Thank you for joining me. My name is Liam, I'm one of the Archipelago developers, and I will be hosting your live stream this evening. My husky voice is brought to you courtesy of a cold that I've had this week. I've not had a cold for 2 years. And then this week I've been afflicted with the worst cold of my life. So I sound a little bit gravelly, a little bit husky. I might have to cough a couple of times, but it's all good. We're here for the good times. I've got my tea. It's like 10 o'clock at night here in the UK, so I thought coffee was a little bit of a stretch at this time, but tea is going to help me get through this. Jump on the chat and say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I always like to know where people are tuning in from. Lauren's armed with the tea too. Very nice. I've just rocked the English breakfast this evening. What have you gone for, Lauren? What's your tea choice? Hey, Roberto, thank you for joining. So very excited for this stream. We're going to be taking a look at the newest Quest release, Quest 9, which is an Atlas Special Edition extension set designed by Chris, who's here in the chat today. So if you have any specific questions about the set, you've got Chris on hand to answer those, as well as me. Amazing, got people tuning in from Vancouver, Perry Smith, Northern Kentucky. Ooh, Lauren's got Lady Grey, very nice, very nice. I'm not sure how that differs to Earl Grey, but I'm a big fan of Earl Grey. I think Lady Grey got different, I think it's got flowers in it, I want to say. Little blue flowers, maybe, who knows. Anyway, big fan of tea. Roberto's from Spain, welcome Roberto. Amazing, so we'll start editing just in a moment. I'm just going to show you the images that we got to edit with Quest 9 today. Some incredible photos. And as we dive in and start editing with these, you're going to see the photographer's name up in the top left, along with the EXIF data which is used to capture the image there as well. So if you want to know who shot each image, you've got the name at the top there. Thank you to the incredible photographers that have provided the images that we're going to be editing with today. Very exciting. And of course, it wouldn't be a live stream if we weren't giving away one of these incredible Archipelago Quest mugs, an enamel mug. We're going to be giving one of these away at the end of the stream. All you need to do to be with a chance of winning is be here, interact during the stream, throw your comments down in the chat, let us know what you hear, what you're loving, what you like about the edits, and at the end of the stream we'll be announcing someone to win one of these Archipelago Quest mugs. So do stick around. Not only that, also stick around because we're going to be taking a sneak peek. We're going to be taking a sneak look at Quest 10, next month's Quest set. And I'm very excited about this one, so do stick around at the end of the stream for that as well. Yannette says, you're dying for one of those mugs? Yes, you need one in your life. Okay, cool. So let's head back to Lightroom. We're going to dive in and take a look at the set in just a moment. The way that I usually like to run these streams is just to let you choose which images I'll edit next. So we've got these 10 incredible images we're going to be editing with first. So if you want to see a particular image edited next, just jump in the chat, let me know the number in the top left of the thumbnail of which image you want to see next, and I'll edit that one next. So just let me know as we go through the stream what you want to see. We'll dive in and take a look at the set in just a moment. So let's head over to this first image here and we'll go into the develop module and take a look at the set. So Quest 9, as I said, is an Atlas Special Edition extension set. So for anyone that loves Atlas, Atlas is an absolute staple in the Archipelago lineup. Incredible presets. This is an extension that brings 4 brand new presets, 2 additional profiles as well, and that bring along some of that incredible rich skin tones, the deep blacks, and the warmth that we recognize from the incredible Atlas preset. So we've got 3 color and 1 black and white preset in this AQ9 Quest 9 set. So let's run through the set in just a moment. We've got this really beautiful image here. I'm just going to increase the exposure a tiny little bit and just add a little bit more warmth before I take a look at the presets. And let's run through the images in, the presets in this set. So first up, AQ091 Atlas SE. We've got like really gorgeous toning. Look at that in one click, super nice. And instantly recognizable as Atlas as well. You know, distinct, but it has its own look. So that's AQ091 Atlas SE. AQ092 brings even more of that warmth. Desaturate the blues a little bit there as well. A little bit of a richer look. Definitely looks nice on this. And then we've got AQ093. Love this one. Just retains some of the blues there in the sky. Really gorgeous skin tones, as with this entire set. And then the black and white AQ094. Absolutely stunning. What an incredible set. So 4 amazing presets. And as I mentioned, there's 2 profiles included here as well, a color profile and a black and white profile. So if I go ahead and apply one of the presets, I'm going to go for AQ093 because I just like the way that it's rendering the blue in the sky there. And as you can see, it's applied the south profile up at the top here. And you can either go across and adjust the profile yourself using the slider, or we actually have these adjustment tools included in this set. So we have southeast, southwest, and then for the black and white, we have northeast and northwest. So we take a look at southeast, hover over that. What that does is it sets the profile to 50. So you can very quickly get a particular look that you're going for, or you can go for southwest, which sets the profile up to 150. Now the profile is introducing this really nice rich warmth. It's just muting the highlights. It gives this really soft kind of almost postcard feel to it. Really beautiful, almost vintage warmth. Really gorgeous. So you can go up and adjust the profile yourself manually, or as I mentioned, you can use these presets just down here to get it to a particular place. Now for this particular image, I really do like it when it's cranked up, but I think for this it looks really nice just balancing the kind of tonality between the color in the sky and then the color in the subject and the grass down here. So I think AQ093 with the southeast preset, which sets the south profile to 50, looks absolutely incredible to me. Here's the before and here's after. Absolutely stunning. Super nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at a close-up of that while I take this opportunity to sip a little bit of tea. Incredible. So we're rocking and rolling. Let's take a look. I know there's a few numbers thrown in there. Let's have a look. Can't we see Quest 10? Oh, Brooke, you are going to love Quest 10. Let me tell you. Number 6, number 8, number 1. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for throwing the numbers in there. For anyone just joining, welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm Liam, and I have a cold, which is why I sound like this. So just so you're aware. But welcome to the stream. We are looking at Quest 9, which is the latest released from the Quest subscription series. And we are going to go through and edit these images with Quest 9. We're going to take a sneak peek at Quest 10 as well, so do stick around. So let's take a look. Number 6 was the next one that was asked for. So let's take a look at this one. This is a really gorgeous image here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just check the horizon. It's looking pretty straight actually. Yeah, happy with that. I'm just going to add a little bit more exposure, bringing up the exposure a tiny little bit, and a tiny little bit more warmth I think there as well. Somewhere around there looks good to me. And let's take a look at the presets. Look at that, absolutely incredible. Love what it's doing to the sky as well. One click. And black and white looks really nice on this as well. But I think I'm going to go for AQ092 just for that really rich warmth that it's bringing in. Definitely suits this scene. Looks like we're kind of heading towards sunset sort of time with this really nice dramatic sky. So let's take a look at the adjustments. We've got southeast and southwest. And I think for this, yeah, southeast is just the right amount of that profile. Just adds a little bit more warmth, just brings down the highlights a little bit and just flattens the image in a really nice way. So I'm just going to bring the exposure up a tiny little bit, and that to me looks super, super nice. Here's the before and here's after. Just so much magic in these presets, absolutely incredible. Here's the side-by-side comparison. Gorgeous. Just love the deep blacks that we're getting down here in the trousers and the shoes, down in the shadows here as well. It's just super nice. And then we have that really rich warmth running throughout. I also love the way it renders greens here as well, like desaturated but still got enough color in them, but just super, super nice. Dream shot, yeah, I agree. Absolutely gorgeous shot. Super nice. That setup is incredible. Okay, let's take a look. So we did 6, 8 was next, and then we've already done 1, so that's good. Let's take a look at 8. Ooh, nice. So we've got this bit of a moodier shot. Looks like it's in the woodland, and they're just laid on this wall. Super nice. Definitely need to bring up the exposure quite a bit on this, and maybe a tiny little bit more with the temperature. Oh, that looks good to me. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, super nice. Okay, it's between 3 and 1 for this. Don't know. Maybe 3. Let me know if you think anything different, but I think 3 for this. So AQ093. Let's take a look. Southeast. Oh no, definitely southwest. Just love the way that's rendering the warmth. Yeah. That is super nice. Ovi said hi. Hey Ovi, thanks for joining. Great to have you here. We're just taking a look at Quest 9. We're going through and editing a bunch of images with 9. And then we're going to be taking a look at Quest 10. A little bit of sneak peek later on in the stream as well. And you are in with a chance of winning an Archipelago Quest mug just by being here and interacting with the stream. So just drop some comments as we go through. Let me know what you think to the edits, what you think to the presets. If you have any questions, throw those in there as well. We'd be happy to answer them. And we'll be announcing someone to win one of those near the end of the stream, so definitely stick around. So let's take a look at the before then. This was with AQ093, and we used the southwest adjustment, so we increased the south profile to get that really gorgeous warmth. Love the way it's rendering the greens here. Just the kind of uniform tonality that the south profile brings to this. It just warms up the entire image and just makes the tones really consistent throughout. So this was fairly minimal anyway. There's not a load of colors, but I think it works really, really well in this image. Here's the side by side. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, Brooke, I agree. Love that pose. It's really unique, actually. Really, really awesome pose. Great work, Corey. Okay, so let's have a look. We did 1 already. Brooke asked for 3. And Unit also agreed with that as well. And then 7, so 3. Got some more greens in this one. Yeah, love this. Really, really nice photo from Scarlett. So exposure and white balance, I think, are pretty much bang on. I don't think I'd do anything. Maybe just increase the exposure a tiny little bit just to make sure that the subjects are well exposed, but otherwise it's spot on. And yeah, I think it's got to be 1 for this. I just love the way that it's rendering those greens. 3 looks really nice as well. Actually, no, I'm going to go 3. And the reason I'm going to go 3 is because of the way that it renders the blues. So if you notice, the suit here has some blue in it. And with 3, it retains some of those blues. So I think that looks really nice on this image. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm going to increase the south profile. No, I'm going to leave it as it is, set to 0. I think it's just a nice balanced look as it is. I'm just going to brighten up a tiny little bit. And the only other thing I'd do with this is probably just add a really subtle gradient filter just at the bottom, just to kind of darken down the bottom here and draw your eye to the subjects in the middle there. That looks super nice. There's before and after. These presets are almost like the perfect balance between being subtle and being stunning, basically. Chris, you've done an amazing job with these. They're incredible. Here's the side-by-side comparison. Again, love the way it's rendering those greens. All right, so let's carry on. 3 and then 7. And then I think they said 2 after that. So let's take a look. 7 and then 2. Oh, 7. This is probably my favorite image out of the ones we're editing today. Super, super nice. So dramatic. Love the pose. Love the kind of perspective being a little bit lower down here as well. And then this amazing sort of like crown and the flowers. Just so nice. So I think for this, I'm just going to bring the exposure up a little bit here. Maybe a tiny, tiny little bit more warmth. Yeah, just a tiny little bit. And then let's take a look. Oh yeah. Now this is definitely a contender for a black and white, but I think 3 looks super, super nice on here. So let's do a color and a black and white edit, I think. So we'll bring the exposure up a tiny little bit. Let's take a look at the profile adjustments, southeast and southwest. It's a tough one because I love the way that looks. Let's go for southwest. I'm just going to dial it back a tiny little bit. I think it's somewhere around there. It's about 130. Looks really, really good. Here's the before and here's after. And there is the side-by-side comparison. And then let's go ahead and create a virtual copy. And let's do some little magic here where we can do a comparison. And we'll go black and white on here. So AQ 094, which is the black and white preset in this Atlas Special Edition set. And for this, we've got the north profile. And we have the adjustments here, northeast and northwest. Now with the profile I'll show you here, it's set to 0 as default, and as we crank it up you can see it cools down the toning in the black and white, and it adds more contrast and just blooms those highlights as well. And I think for this the drama just looks so good, cranked all the way up to 200. Absolutely love that on this image. So there we go, we've got 2 edits there. Color edit with AQ 093 on the left, and a black and white with AQ 094 on the right. Yeah, I think the black and white on this looks so good. I think just because of the drama of the shot anyway, the perspective and kind of the kind of this up the top here, this crown, just leads the eye straight to the subject. I just love the drama of the black and white. There we go. Let's tell you what we'll do. We'll stack these 2 together so that they're out of the way, and then we've got the same number we had before. Okay, so 7, I think 2 was next, and then I don't think anyone else has asked for an image after that. So let me know which image you want to see after. We've still got 2, which we'll do in a moment. We've got 4, 5, 9, and 10 left to edit. So let's jump into 2. I wanted to include this one because I think it's a really good way to showcase what happens with the blues in the image, as well as the skin tones as well. So I'm just going to zoom in on this image first. We get this, I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but sometimes you can get this like color banding when you're looking at sort of a lower resolution preview. So this will be like a standard preview of the image. And sometimes you can see this like banding. If you ever see that, if you just zoom into 100, and give it a second, it'll render the image, and then when you zoom back out, you don't see the banding anymore. So if you find it distracting while you're editing, it wouldn't export with that banding, just a top tip. It's just because of the way it previews it, but if you zoom in and then zoom back out again, it'll get rid of that banding. So let's take a look. I think for this, I think the white balance is spot on. I think the exposure is pretty much spot on. So let's just take a look at the presets. So AQ091, so you can see how it just pushes those blues to be so they're more desaturated, but they're also pushed across to be a little bit more on the purple side. And then we've got AQ092, which pushes that even further. And then AQ093, which retains the blues, desaturates them slightly, pushes them across to be a little bit more teal, but retains them in a really nice way. And then obviously we have the black and white there as well. So I think for this, if I was choosing, I would go for 3, just because I think it does a really nice job of retaining blues. And let's just use the south profile. Let's just crank it and see what we think to this. Yeah, I think somewhere around about there. Let's set to 93. Looks really good. The only other thing I probably would do with this is just correct the lens corrections, just so we get rid of some of the vignette that was appearing in the top corner there. But otherwise, that looks spot on. Here's the before. And here's the after with AQ093. And there's the side-by-side. Glad you agree with that, Brooke. Yes, Lauren, vintage dreams come true indeed. All right, awesome. Let's take a look. Any other choices for images? Number 4, I'd love to see. Let's do it. Let's do it. Number 4. By the way, before we dive into this, has anyone been watching Squid Game? I watched episode 6 tonight, just before the stream actually, and man, it had me in bits. If you haven't watched it, it's a very intense show, but it's got me hooked. Anyway, back to programming. So I'm just going to increase the temperature on this. And I think in terms of exposure, it's there or thereabouts. Maybe increase it a little bit. Cool, let's take a look. Oh yeah. These are all looking very, very nice. But I think 1 is winning it for me. I just like the way it's rendering the skin tones, the color in the hat over here as well. And honestly, I probably wouldn't do anything else with that, but let's take a look at the profile. No, I think I'm going to leave it as default. I just like the way that it's keeping some of the cool toning in the highlights here, whereas when we add the profile, it just warms that up, and I think it's a nice contrast against the warmth we have in the skin, in the hair, and in the hat as well. So that's super nice. Here's the before, here's after. So easy to edit with these. And there's a side-by-side. All right, so I don't see any other numbers in the chat yet. Do let me know if you want to see something particular next, but I'm going to go for number 9. Let's dive into number 9. So love this shot, really, really nice. I think again I might just correct the lens profile just to get rid of some of that vignette, but I think I'm happy with the exposure, and the white balance actually looks pretty good. So let's take a look. Yeah, super, super nice. And I think it's got to be 3 for this one. I'm just going to manually adjust the south profile, so let's see where we go. Around about there, 32. And I think the only other thing that I would do with this is probably just add a little bit more contrast. It's just a little bit lacking in contrast on this particular image. So I'm just going to add a little bit more, and that looks good to me. Maybe a tiny little bit more warmth. Yeah. There we go. There's before and there's after. And that's with AQ093. All right, cool. Let's keep it rolling. So 5 and 10 left to do. So let's do 5 and then we'll do 10. And then we'll jump across and we might potentially do a sneak peek of Quest 10, but only if you really, really want to. So let's do 5 first. Absolutely love this image as well. I'm just going to go ahead and straighten it up a tiny little bit. Probably somewhere around about there. Yeah, that looks good to me. I think the exposure is probably good. Maybe bring it up a tiny little bit and tiny little bit more warmth in there as well. And let's take a look. Ooh, yeah. Look at that mood. Again, this is a contender for 2 different edits. We could go for I think 3 again on this, again because I like the way it's rendering the blues. I like the way that it's retaining the greens in the foliage there. I'm just going to bring the exposure up a little bit as well. And I will definitely be adding southwest, cranking up that south profile because that looks really, really nice. Here's before and here's after, and that's with AQ093. And then let's go ahead and do a virtual copy, and we're going to do a black and white on this one as well. And let's take a look. Absolutely, we're going to be using northwest. I'm going to crank it up, maybe all the way actually. Let's take a look. Yes, I'm just going to use the lens correction on this. Lens correction 2, which retains some of the vignette, but just flattens the image out. And yeah, I definitely like that with north cranked almost all the way up. So let's do the little side by side on these. There we go. On the left, we've got a color edit. That's using AQ093, and we've cranked up the south profile there for that gorgeous warmth. And then on the right, we have a black and white edit using AQ094, and we've cranked up the north profile to give us that really rich, contrasty look with the cool tone in. Such a stunning setup this, love it. With all this arrangement behind them and the rugs underneath. Very, very nice work. Cool, let's just shrink those 2 down, just keep things nice and tidy. Okay, so we're on to the last image here. Image number 10, I absolutely love this. So definitely need to do a little bit of straightening. Horizon looks a little wonky, probably somewhere around about there. And conveniently that also crops out this distracting element over here as well, so let's go for that. Just going to bring the exposure up a little bit there as well. Yeah, somewhere around about there. Let's take a look. Whoa. Yeah, these look incredible. And I think for this, let's go for AQ092, just because I love the warmth that it's bringing in to the image here. And I'm not even going to use the adjustments because I think I'm just going to crank up. I'm going to crank south, probably all the way up. Yeah, let's go for it, all the way up. Let's bring exposure up. Whoa, look at that. Super, super nice. Really gorgeous, rich, warm edit. Love that. And the versatility as well in this set. You know, you could go for something like 3, and you could keep the kind of south profile on the towards the left, so on the lower end, and have that sort of cool toned look. And then you also have the ability to crank it all the way up and get this really warm look within one set, which is amazing. So here's the side by side. So that's if you want to go for a warm edit. Let's go for a cool one as well. So we'll go for the same preset, so 2, and just to show you the kind of versatility here, let's keep the south profile set where it is. I'm just going to bring the exposure down for this, and that gives us a whole other look. And that's with the same preset, it's just a profile that's done all of that working, making it so different. So again, really, really nice to have that flexibility, so useful having these tools and having the flexibility to kind of take the image wherever we want to take it. And again, having these profile adjustments here, super handy if you know you want to go for an edit that has all of that warmth and that kind of vintage matte feel. You can just go ahead and apply Southwest on every single one of the presets in this set and get that look straight away. Super nice. There's the side by side of that edit. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, cool. So it's that time. It's time for a sneak peek of Quest 10, but only if you want to see it. So if you do want to see a preview of Quest 10, next month's Quest presets, you've got to let me know in the chat. You've got to put something in there. Put Quest 10 in capital letters and let me know if you want to see a preview. And then after that, we'll be announcing a winner for one of these incredible Archipelago Quest mugs. So do stick around. Amelia says, yay, love sneak peeks. Chris says, do it. Sean says, Quest 10. And Brooks joining in as well. All right, okay, I can hear you. Let's do it. I finished my tea, I'm fueled up, and I'm ready for it. Let's head over and take a look at the images we're going to be editing with Quest 10. So to reveal, Quest 10 is another special edition extension set, and this one is X-Film. Very, very excited. This is a set that I've developed, and it's an extension of the X-Film presets, bringing 3 new color presets and a new black and white preset with 2 new profiles as well, giving you those nostalgic film vibes and slightly different direction to the original set. You've got tools in there to make them look similar to the original set, but it kind of goes off into a slightly different direction. You'll see in a moment. So I'll walk you through the set. We'll take a look at the 4 presets included and the profile. We'll start off with this image, really, really gorgeous photo here. I'm just going to straighten it up. I'm just going to bring up the exposure somewhere around there. I think white balance looks good. So let's take a look at the presets. So are you ready? AQ10-1 X-Film SE, 1 click. Boom. And let's run down the set here. So we've got AQ10-2. AQ10-3. And the black and white AQ10-4. So let's go ahead and edit this. Let's use AQ10-1 for this. Just going to bring the exposure up a tiny little bit more. Somewhere around there looks really good to me. And as you can see, we've got the pull-push profile applied as default. And this is set to 100 when you apply the preset. And this emulates the look of the film development process, either pulling film or pushing film. So if you're used to film, it's a process when you develop it. And pushing film adds more contrast, more grittiness, and more grain. Pulling film reduces the contrast, gives a bit of a softer look with less grain. So this profile emulates that. The default, as I said, is 100. And if I drag this to the left, you can see that it softens the image, reduces the contrast, so it brings the highlights down, lifts the shadows a little bit there as well. And also reduces the micro contrast. And then if we crank it up, we get the opposite effect, so it adds more contrast, more grittiness and texture as well. So you can take this preset whichever way you want. I'm going to set this back to 100 for the moment because I'm going to show you the rest of the set. So below the presets, we have an adjustment tool which is called Expired Film Tone. So if you're used to Xfilm presets, the Archipelago Xfilm set, this is essentially going to give you the look of the character profile. So if you give this a click, it's going to crush your highlights, crush your shadows, and give you that expired film tone. So if I go ahead and zoom in on the image so you can see, just wait for it to render. This is the default, and then this is with expired film tone. So it just adds a little bit more of that nostalgic look. Just crushes those highlights, crushes the shadows. And then of course we still have the pull push profile to play with. So if you apply the expired film tone adjustment, and then you can go ahead and choose whether you want to pull or push the look of the film. So you can go for this and have a bit of a softer look, or you can go for this with a bit more punchy, contrasty look. And actually if I zoom in again, set that to 100, just so you can see the details. Let's go in a little bit further actually. So if you take a look at the details around sort of like her hair and her eyes, if I go all the way to the left, get that softer look, and then all the way to the right, we get that punchier look. So for this, let's go for a push development. So we're going to increase the profile all the way up. And then I've also included two grain tools here as well. We have pushed grain and we have pulled grain. So again, if I zoom in so you can see the grain structure just here. So the default grain is somewhere in the middle. When you go to pushed grain, it's going to add a heavier grain with a higher roughness to it, just like you would experience from pushing your film. And then pulled grain is a finer, less rough grain than the default. So you've got the flexibility there again. And I think for this, let's go for pulled grain, get that bit of a softer look. So here's the before, and here's after. And that's edited with AQ10.1, the Xfilm SE. We've put the expired film tone on there, and we've increased the pull push profile all the way up, and we've added pulled grain. Here's the side by side. Boom. Who's excited for November? All right, on to the next one. So I'm going to show you each of the presets in this set. So for this, I'm going to edit with AQ10.2. First thing I'm going to do is just increase the exposure tiny little bit, and maybe add a little bit of warmth, maybe about there. And here's AQ10.2. Again, look at that incredible mood with one click of the preset. And again, we've got the pull push. We can either bring this down or increase it. I think for this, actually leaving it in the middle looks really good. Expired film tone. You see how it just crunches those shadows. You get that kind of softer filmic look. I think for this, works really well. So let's go for that. And let's go for pushed grain so we get that heavier grain look on this. So 2 retains the blues, shifts the reds a little bit as well, just to complement the blue tone. Here's the before, and here's the after. And just before and after. And there is your side by side. So that's with the heavier grain, that's with pushed grain. Or we could go for pulled grain for a bit of a softer look, but still with some texture there. So the nice thing with pulled grain is you're not going completely smooth and modern looking, you still have a little bit of texture, but it's really, really subtle. So if you prefer a bit of a softer look, the pulled grain option is a really nice option to have there. Cool, on to the next image. Love this photo by April. So I'm just going to bring the exposure up quite a bit. Definitely need to bring the warmth up a little bit here as well. Yeah, that's looking good to me. Okay, so AQ10.3. Let's go there. So that's one click of the preset after we've adjusted the exposure and white balance. And again, let's take a look at the profile. So it's set to 100 as default, right in the middle. We could either go for a softer look or go for a more punchy look. And I think for this, it's actually tough. You could go both ways. I think my preference is probably going for a bit more of a pushed look. So maybe set it to about 140. Again, expired film tone if you want to just crush the highlights and shadows. I think for this, I'm going to keep it as it is. And let's go for pulled grain for that nice, soft, subtle look. Just wait for that to render. There we go. So there is the before, and there is after with AQ10-3. And here's the side by side. Cool, and then the last image. And we'll do a black and white edit on this so I can show you AQ10-4, but I'll run through the presets anyway. So I'm just going to increase the exposure a little bit, add a little bit more warmth. And just needs a tiny little bit of straightening. Just my personal preference. And let's take a look. So I'll run you through the set. AQ10-1. AQ10-2, AQ10-3, and the black and white, which is AQ10-4. So I'm going to bring the exposure up a little bit on this one. Again, we've got the pull push profile for black and white, so we can decrease or increase the profile here. And I think for this, again, we've got those nice rich details here, so I'm going to crank up the profile just so we pull out all the detail, add a little bit more contrast to it, have that pushed film look. And we'll go for expired film tone just so we get that kind of softness to the highlights and the shadows, and we'll go for pushed film grain here as well. And there's before and there's after with AQ10-4. Again, you could go for a color edit on this. It's just a super nice image anyway. I think for me, I really like AQ10-2 just because it's kind of keeping the color in kind of the stamps and these little blocks here, nice and rich, but then we're getting some cooler tones in the shadowy area, and it just complements really nicely. So if I was going for color edit, I'd go for AQ10-2, and for this I probably would go for pull, so I'm going to bring it to the left. We'll go for expired film tone, and we'll go for pulled grain, a bit of a different look. So again, loads of versatility, you can take it either way you want. But yeah, that black and white, super nice. Let's go ahead and zoom in. So there's before and there's after with AQ10-4, expired film tone, pushed profile, and pushed grain. So there you go, that's your sneak peek at next month's Quest set. And actually, in other news as well, I'm not going to show you yet, but I will break the news that there is also a bonus coming next month as well. And that bonus will be in the form of some very exciting tools. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that because it'll be a nice surprise when we get to November. But there will be a bonus set that will be included that month as well, along with this Quest 10 X Film extension set. So get excited, it's going to be amazing. So that brings us to the end of the stream, which means it's time for us to announce a winner for the Archipelago Quest mug. and one of my trusty team will be doing that in the chat in just a moment. Brooke says, I love bonus, hate surprises. Trust me, you're going to like this surprise. It's very, very cool. Let me just tell you, it complements this set very, very well. The nostalgic film vibes are going to be enhanced even further with this bonus set. So there we go. Lauren's announced the winner of the mug for the Quest 9 live stream. Amelia, you are the winner of this Archipelago Quest mug. Congratulations. Very, very exciting. If you just email support, we'll get that over to you very, very soon. You can be tasting the sweet nectar that comes from the Archipelago Quest mug. And Brooke says, can't wait, love film vibes. Yeah, if you love film vibes, you're going to love Quest 10, absolutely. Amazing. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this live stream, keeping me going through my raspy voice and all. Always love doing these streams. We do this at least once a month, so definitely come back and tune in to the next one. And of course, make sure to share your edits with Quest 9 in the Quest Facebook group and the Archipelago Facebook group as well. And if you're not subscribed to Quest, you need to subscribe now. Go get hold of Quest 9. And then at the start of next month, you're going to get Quest 10 and a bonus set as well. So very exciting times. Now is the time to sign up if you haven't already. So that's it. That's a wrap. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to the amazing photographers for providing the images that we used today. And I will see you in the next stream.